Debate on why we love anime manga.
Topic preview. Audio and captions begin shortly. Ever wondered if your brain can tell the difference between your real best friend and your favorite anime hero? Well, it can't. Without a biological fiction filter, we are hardwired to process these stories through the same neural pathways we use for real-life friendships. We step through portals into a state of total absorption, finding a safe haven and a sense of closure that the stressful real world often lacks. By practicing oshikatsu, actively supporting our favorites through cosplay or fanfic, we aren't just observers. We are finally feeling truly seen and acknowledged.
Welcome to the debate. Today we're exploring the psychology of fan bases, specifically, why we love anime and manga.
Yeah, it's a really massive topic.
It really is. Like, if you look at a fallout shelter, the purpose is pretty obvious, right? Heavy doors, thick walls, it's designed specifically to keep the chaos of the outside world safely on the outside.
Right. It's all about pure preservation.
Exactly. But then you walk into a martial arts dojo, and you see people willingly taking hits, navigating conflict. They aren't hiding, they're training.
So you're applying this to, like, anime and manga fandoms?
Yes, exactly. Millions of fans spend massive amounts of emotional energy on these fictional worlds. So the debate is, are these fans just hiding in a psychological fallout shelter to escape a stressful reality? Or are they stepping into a dojo to actually rehearse for real-world emotional conflict? I'm arguing that fandom functions as an emotional dojo, actively building real-world empathy.
And I argue it is, well, fundamentally a psychological fallout shelter. It offers a necessary, low-risk escape from the intense social isolation of modern life.
Let's start with the neurology. The brain actually processes fictional and real relationships through the exact same neural pathways.
Sure, but
Wait, let me finish. When fans project their own traits onto characters, which University of Florida researchers call assumed similarity, they aren't just passively watching, they are actively developing genuine empathy.
okay, the neurological response is definitely real, but we have to look at the motivation here. I mean, why do we seek out these specific connections?
Well, to feel something.
Right, but it's often driven by modern social isolation, that feeling of being completely disconnected from your real-world community. Fictional relationships are deliberately low risk because, a character never rejects you.
Ah, you're talking about the recent explosion in oshikatsu, right?
Exactly. Oshikatsu is the Japanese subculture of passionately supporting a favorite character, and we saw it spike massively during the pandemic.
Right, when everyone was stuck inside.
Yes, when people lost control of their daily lives. This fandom provided a predictable sanctuary. Your personal struggles suddenly have guaranteed meaningful resolutions on screen.
I get the escapism argument, I really do, especially during a crisis. But because the brain can't distinguish between real and fictional emotional pathways, the artificial nature of anime actually enhances its utility.
Wait, how so?
Engaging with a morally complex show like One Piece isn't retreating to a bunker. It's a flight simulator for human morality.
A flight simulator? Come on.
No, hear me out. Fans don't just consume it, they actively challenge societal norms through things like shipping, where they write stories pairing characters up in complex relationships, or creating doujinshi, those self-published fan comics. They are practicing real-world empathy by navigating a character's emotional redemption arc.
But doesn't that community building stem from a desire to regain control? Fans write those stories because the real world feels completely out of their hands. Look at the paradox of teenagers intentionally watching highly traumatic dystopian anime.
You mean like Attack on Titan?
Yes, Attack on Titan. Why immerse yourself in a world where giant monsters are literally eating people?
Because it lets them process real-world anxiety in a contained space. When a fan watches a character survive a Titan attack, they are neurologically practicing resilience. They get to feel the terror and grief, but they control the dial.
Or they're using it as an emotional mute button.
A mute button? Really?
Yeah, exactly. By flooding their nervous system with extreme, artificial trauma, everyday real-world stressors might start to feel dull by comparison. It's a controlled psychological valve.
But they still feel real grief when a character dies.
Yes, the grief triggers real stress hormones. But the crucial difference is zero real-life maintenance. You can always just turn off the screen. You can't turn off a real-world tragedy.
But the fact that it is a controlled valve is exactly how it translates into real-world emotional intelligence. Research out of the University of Toronto shows that deep engagement with fiction yields significantly higher scores in real-world perspective-taking.
Higher empathy scores on a test don't always equal real-world action, though.
Maybe, but fictional characters teach millions of people about perseverance through pain. The psychological capacity it takes to show up for a fictional character is, well, the exact same muscle you use to show up for a real human being.
The data on empathy is solid, I'll give you that. But there's a limit to that translation. When you look at those oshikatsu studies, you see teenagers spending half their disposable income on a relationship that fundamentally cannot love them back.
Well, people spend money on all sorts of hobbies.
But at its core, that remains a coping mechanism. It's providing a perfectly safe connection in an increasingly unpredictable world.
So, I maintain that anime fandom functions as a highly dynamic tool for self-discovery and the active rehearsal of complex emotions. It's a space where identity is forged, not just protected.
And I still conclude it fundamentally remains a necessary psychological coping mechanism. It offers a safe harbor for modern anxieties.
We definitely agree that anime offers a uniquely layered psychological utility.
Absolutely. There's a lot more to explore there in the source material.
We'll leave it to the listener to weigh the balance of escapism versus emotional rehearsal. Next time you find yourself deeply attached to a fictional world, ask yourself, are you stepping into a fallout shelter to hide from the chaos, or are you stepping into the dojo to train for it?
Hi, thanks for watching. If you want more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Bye.